Mark. It's my honour today to introduce Dr. Luca Leonardis. My apologies, Luca. My Italian is not as good as Daniel Ricciardo's at the Grand Prix on Sunday night, for those of you that watched. Luca is an ex-member of our club, but he has a very large body of work and experience in investment banking and international finance. And currently he's based in Hong Kong. And today he's going to give us his insights into the situation in Hong Kong and how that will be viewed going forward, and in investment banking and in general economics. So thank you very much, Luca, and I'll hand over to you for the meeting. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you for having me. First of all, I mean, it's great to be here again. I mean, there are so many familiar faces here: Rosalind, Shiva, John. So, well, let me share my presentation. So here we go. So this is a photo of me actually in Hong Kong, the Rotary Hong Kong. I joined the Rotary Sydney Club in 2009 when Rosalind was president of the club. And unfortunately, a couple years, 3 years ago, because of my work, I mean, I couldn't attend any events and be active. So because of my traveling across Oceania, I'm in charge of this department of Invest Hong Kong that looks after investments. So from Hong Kong into Australia, New Zealand, and from Australia, New Zealand into Hong Kong. And so I spent lots of time traveling across the region. So today I would like to give you, like in the next 20 minutes, like an update on about Hong Kong, and in particular the Greater Bay Area, which is the new I would say new. It's been like a few years already, but it's the new arrangement that Hong Kong and Macau signed with the Guangdong province. We have been through a few issues or challenges in the past couple of years, not because of COVID, but for other reasons that you have heard on the media. But Hong Kong is trying to reorganize itself and relaunch itself. So that's why we are operating towards this direction. So today, let's talk about the Greater Bay Area, which is we are focusing a lot on the Greater Bay Area. Is basically an agreement which is part of the Chinese development plan of the south part of the country, which in a way promote the cooperation among 9 cities in Guangdong province, and then together with Macau and in Hong Kong. It's a sort of European Union where basically countries and the cities among the region trying to stimulate synergies, promote collaboration and cooperation, and establish in certain areas and sectors a very strong collaboration, and then we will see in the coming slides, in order to work together to make this area a very I would say a very strong one, a strong area in terms of investment attraction and for the business. Of course, there are a few pillars, I would say, so that are the base of this collaboration. And the pillars are the innovation, the international competitiveness, the livability, and the commerce, the business. Greater Bay Area. So just to give you some numbers about this region. the total land is very small. So we talk about over 56,000 square kilometers, which is an area smaller than Panama, but a population is very interesting. I mean, we talk about over 72 million people living there, with a GDP which is bigger than Australia and other. We will see shortly with other countries in the world. So it's huge, because it represents basically 11% of the total Chinese GDP. So the total 11% of the total GDP of China comes from this region. So we talk about GDP, and as you can see, the GDP of GBA is also bigger than Russia and South Korea. So you can imagine, and of course, the leading cities in this region are Hong Kong. Of course, I think most of you know Hong Kong, but also two important cities in Guangdong province, Guangzhou and Shenzhen. So there are other Greater Bay Areas in the world. So the San Francisco Bay Area, New York metropolitan area, Tokyo Bay Area. But the unique element is that the Greater Bay Area has a mix of attributes that differentiate this Greater Bay Area from other Greater Bay Area. So the key attributes are the financial center and the financial center, the innovation and technology center, and the manufacturing base center. So each city in the Greater Bay Area has like some specific competencies, I would like to say, or they have a unique elements that combined together with others makes this region fully integrated. For example, Guangzhou and Shenzhen, they are very strong in technology, for example, technology and innovation, IT. And Hong Kong as a financial center, but at the same time, Hong Kong is developing a very interesting IT ecosystem. And of course, Hong Kong is also the business professional services hub in the region. So Guangzhou, Shenzhen, Hong Kong, and the other 7 cities in Guangdong have been considered the new Silicon Valley. So together with, of course, the US, the Silicon Valley, but also the other, I would say, hubs in the world that are very renowned for technology and for their ecosystems to attract startups in particular, as mentioned in technology. So the role of Hong Kong, of course, Hong Kong, I mentioned, is very strong. It's a logistics center. So we have the busiest cargo airport in the world, financial hub. So the financial center, and we start to strengthen this Hong Kong as a international financial center, developing other, I would say, the financial ecosystem. And I will show you later on about the new initiatives that the Hong Kong government put in place to facilitate investments, inflow and inbound and outbound inflows. Technology, the ecosystem, but also the business professional services. You consider that Hong Kong is a very, very small territory area, so and very small. So and 90%, over 90% of our GDP comes from the business professional services team sector. So of course, With Hong Kong, as mentioned, technology is an important element, an important element, and the financial. So the three pillars are basically the financial element, the business professional services element, so services, and technology. So when we talk about the measures for this collaboration, so basically, of course, as mentioned, is about the European Union system, I would say. So people can move across among countries freely, and at the same time, they can do business more easier, I would say. So they don't need like a different license, for example, to operate in a particular market or particular country. They can easily travel from a country to another to another country, and of course, it's also easy to, I would say, when you have like a similar system to operate and do business. In those slides, you will see that there are lots of information. I will more than happy to share this presentation, Kathy, later. I mean, if you would like to have the presentation, more than happy to send it to you and share with you. So let's have a let's have a look at the sectors I mentioned earlier. So the international financial center. So one of the main sector is finance, and Hong Kong plays an important role in I would say in moving capitals, funds. If you've been in Hong Kong, you see banks everywhere. So there are over 200 different banks or brands or banks names in Hong Kong. But at the same time, also financial operators that assist companies and investors to do business in the mainland China, but at the same time assist Chinese investors to do business in the global environment. Just an example, I recently, I mean, last year, assisted a company here from Australia who expanded in Hong Kong in order to attract investments into Australia, having like an office there, dealing with the family offices, banks, in order to promote what Australia has to offer in terms of investments, in particular in infrastructure investments here in Australia. The aviation is another important sector. I think you heard about the development of our airport. So 3 years ago, before the pandemic, we almost reached the capacity of our airport. So we had like over 70 million passengers per year. So that's why the government put in place a new project, and we expanded the airport. So now the competition of the projects will be 2027, more or less. There was some delays in this project because of the situation, but we will definitely we will complete it, and in order to reach a capacity of over 100 million passengers per year. And of course, connectivity, as I mentioned, and I think you know about the longest bridge in the world, which connect Hong Kong, Zhuhai, and Macau. I've been there. I've been on the bridge, and it's amazing. It's an amazing experience being for almost an hour in the middle of the ocean. And then, of course, the technology hub. The technology hub, we're building an ecosystem, but the ecosystem is made not only by I would say, technology centers, accelerators, incubators, but also uh, financial institutions that are willing or interested to invest in technology, in technology ideas, in prototypes, new technology, for example, new technology, technological projects, I would say. And then, of course, with Shenzhen and Guangzhou, what happened, the incubation happens in Hong Kong, and then the prototyping happens in Shenzhen and Guangzhou, which have the infrastructure to assist the international IT companies. You consider that the main IT Chinese IT companies are based there. So we talk about Tencent, Alibaba, JB, and so on. Financial services. So I mentioned about the new developments. So the last couple of years, Hong Kong decided to give a boost to the financial sector, concentrating and allocating resources into the wealth management space, and also the family offices space. So what we're trying to assist companies to better or easily do business in mainland China, and at the same time offering to international investors and funds the opportunity to have like special conditions to establish their presence in Hong Kong. And we talk about also the new tax regime for those people. Of course, in Hong Kong, we have no free capital flow, so you can move, transfer money easily from a bank to bank, also internationally. But of course, we still have limitations between Hong Kong and mainland China, as you know. So there are some limits for Chinese investors to move money and funds overseas. Another element is connected to BPS, or business professional services, is the insurance sector. So also in this sector, with the Greater Bay Area developments, operators can now have the chance to work in the Greater Bay Area without having like a different license, or basically having like the same conditions. So, and this is another important aspect of this collaboration between the region, between the cities among the cities in the region. And of course, family offices. Hong Kong is renowned as a rich city, and based on our last census, we had over 120,000 classified as high net worth individuals. So people with cash in bank account, in their bank account, over $5 million US. So these people, of course, they live in Hong Kong because of the 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 life we used to have, the shopping and the quality and the quality of life, which is, of course, is not like quality of life here in Australia, but better than better than other cities in China. And of course, the tax regime that have a very important is a very important element. Hong Kong is a very low tax regime economy. So only the corporate tax is only 16.5%, and the individual tax is 15%. But since the allowances in Hong Kong are very generous, I would say only 5% of the total population pays the maximum rate, which is 15%. But now, because of the economic problems we had in the past years, and the disruptions, and we have a new, for business, we have a new tire. So basically, for up to $2 million Hong Kong dollars profit, companies pay only 8.25%. Then above $2 million profit, 16.5%. So it's very interesting for people interested to do business in the area. Professional services, same, I would say, concept. Now people in the legal firms, for example, architecture and engineering firms or construction firms, they can easily operate in the region without having a different license or different permits, I would say. And this is something that mentioned. So over 90% of our GDP comes from the business professional services sector. So that's why the subsectors like legal, accounting, education, HR, and real estate are very strong. So one of my clients here in Australia is in education is the University of Wollongong. University of Wollongong opened a campus in Hong Kong, and they are fully operating now in Hong Kong. But at the same time, in order to Hong Kong want to strengthen the position as a business professional services, because of course people from mainland China use Hong Kong as a stepstone to go global. So they can find, Hong Kong is the place where East meet West. So you can find people from mainland China, people from all around the world. So for them, they can they come to Hong Kong in order to deal or find solutions or find people able to help them to go global. I mentioned about the Great Barrier, but recently, a couple of years ago, we also signed a free trade agreement with ASEAN, so the ASEAN countries. And now all those people here, for example, legal entities, legal firms, companies in operators in the educational space, they can do business also in the ASEAN countries, so Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, and so on, much easier. I mentioned the government is very supportive in order to attract companies and give to Hong Kong a role within and strengthen the role of Hong Kong BPS financial services technology within the area. How? Also with a wide range of incentives, also financial aid, financial support. So recently, for example, just in the technology, in the last 3 years, we have allocated, the government, the Hong Kong government has allocated over $2 billion Hong Kong to support the ecosystem. So with the new incubators, giving also to startups the possibility to develop their project in Hong Kong, and giving financial assistance. But not only that, of course, the Hong Kong government, I would say, it's very generous also for companies in Hong Kong willing to expand in mainland China or in ASEAN. So we have specific funds dedicated to those people. So for example, the BUD fund, the BUD fund. The BUD fund is a fund that allows companies to promote their brand, so branding in ASEAN countries. And the government for each project give to, if you are granted up to 2 million Hong Kong dollars, which is around $350,000 to develop your brand in the ASEAN countries or in mainland China, or companies that are willing to attend a trade show in China, they can have another fund, which is the promotional SME fund, a promotional fund, so to attend trade shows, and the government matches dollar to dollar to for those companies that have been selected, of course, granted, I would say. So financial services financial services sector, of course, mentioned for the government also, in order to attract family offices and build the ecosystem, is ready to also to arrange new taxation tier for those organizations. Of course, we try to also the government put together a new team dedicated to family offices, which is part of our department at Invest Hong Kong. Quickly, because I'm running, I only have 1 minute to conclude. So this is a little bit about the ecosystem. So the universities, but also the incubators and the accelerators that assist companies. We have more than 3,500 startups in Hong Kong at the moment, so that they use they take advantage of those opportunities. So about us, our department, what we do, we assist the companies to expand in Hong Kong, but at the same time, we also facilitate investments from Hong Kong into Australia. And recently, I started to have a few inquiries from Hong Kong, people willing to move here in Australia. So those are my contact details. Please feel free to contact me if you require further details, information. As I said, happy to share the presentation with all of you, and thank you very much,
Luca, some of our members have some questions.
Yes.
Some of our members have some questions. James, Alan, Mark and Sonu, do have some questions they'd like to ask. So James, would you care to start? Have been having some hearing problems, some sound problems, unfortunately, it seems. James, can you hear me?
Nice to see you again. My question is really around what what's the increasing control that's coming from China of Hong Kong? I mean, how is that affecting investment, and is it making it more risky and making people less risk averse or less prepared to invest in Hong Kong?
Well, there are two, I would say, two faces of the coin. I mean, of course, at the moment, this kind of influence worried Hong Kong people. But at the same time, I noticed that my clients in Hong Kong or the business community in Hong Kong are confident in a way that the business is still on and the people are willing to do business in the city and with Chinese entities. Yeah, for international investors, I noticed that of course there are certain concerns. I mean, this is no doubt. Of course, it's people are, of course, one thing is doing business, going there and selling water, for example. One thing is like putting millions of dollars in a bank in Hong Kong. At the moment, I would say, yeah, there are some concerns, but at the moment we don't see this kind of interference from the mainland China government into Hong Kong. I mean, we will still have the free of flow capital, and there is no limitation in that. And
we are having some sound problems, Luca.
Can you hear me?
We are having some sound problems. You're going in and out a bit, but I don't know what it's like for everybody else, but maybe Mark could answer the question.
Perfect.
Yeah, Jeff, thanks, Jeff. I think it could be you. I think I can hear Luca okay. Thanks, Luca. Look, my question was similar to James, just about the impact of the disruption that we've been seeing on the news over the last little while in Hong Kong, whether that's had an impact on the area, and what the story is with that, Luca.
Yeah, of course, the impact. I mean, imagine that, so that's why we have to consider the business side, and also the population concerns. Of course, Hong Kong has been under under UK, and I mean, back in 1997, they had to go back to China, which is part of the agreement. So I mean, Hong Kong is part of China. I mean, there is no doubt, and of course they had an impact. I mean, they don't want to go back to mainland, but of course, and that was like a big impact in particular for young generation, because of course young generation. So Hong Kong will return to fully return to mainland China in 25 years, so it's 2046. So what's going to happen? Of course, for the youth, the young generation say, what's going to be my future? So let's say, imagine now I'm building my career, I save money, I try to educate my kids, and what's going to happen in 20 years from now. So of course nobody knows. I mean, also in China can change the government, something is gonna we don't know, but that's why the word is particular youth, the young generation. So that's why there are most of the people that protested in 2 years ago. So the business is different. The business, I noticed that when I speak with international operators in Hong Kong, they say, well, so now we have lots of distractions and the business didn't go well. People couldn't come to the city. People couldn't, in particular, also retail, because most of our retail sector was related to with the flow of visitors from mainland China. So imagine we have 62 million visitors in the city, and 54 from mainland China. You can impact on the retail, the stores, and so on. So the impact was huge for those businesses. And at the same time, of course, international operators, banks, or professional services, they say, well, we continue to operate in the city, and this situation and the security law put like the situation or helped us. I mean, gave stability to the system to operate, give stability. But of course, I mean, for people, so that's why, I mean, people are willing. I'm still receiving inquiries of people willing to move to Hong Kong or also Singapore, which is not my area, but the interest to go there and doing business in Hong Kong is still very, very high. But for personal, I mean, for the Hong Kong personal perspective, I understand their why they are worried.
We're almost out of time, but I'm keen to, Glenn, did your question, was your question answered in any of that, or would you like to just?
I think it was touched on, but the question was with the recent crackdown over a number of months now of the Chinese government on big tech companies, and they're most recently in the Ant Group, Alipay threat to break that up. How does the investment community view that? Does it make investment in technology companies, say particularly in fintech, that much more risky?
Well, this is a good question, Glenn. Yes, in a way, yes. So they of course, at the moment, particularly fintech, financial technology, in Hong Kong and China, they try to in a way to control it, to have like a sort of control of what's going on in the network. And you have seen, of course, that also in a way, also with the cryptocurrency, what's happening at the moment, what happened, a few months ago, there was something that. So to answer your question, yes, and I noticed that even if there is an interest of and I tell you, based on the inquiries or from Australian companies of doing business in Hong Kong in this space, from the fintech companies, there are concerns. There are concerns because, of course, the governments, not only Chinese and Hong Kong, they will definitely start.
Luca, I have to say, bring things to a close. I have to apologise to Sonia and Phoebe, who both had questions, but I'm sure that you'll be good for another return visit, no doubt. Could I ask Gordon McKenzie to give a vote of thanks, please? Gordon McKenzie.
Hopefully my internet is holding up. I'm getting unstable messages. So I'll try and pay the bill on time next time, so it won't happen. Look, many thanks for that. Some very useful insights into Hong Kong and the Greater Bay areas. In particular, the way the regions are going to collaborate based on the EU model, which is very interesting. The development opportunities that you nominated around finance, aviation, technology and insurance were also very interesting. Very prescient presentation, given the number of questions about the governance of this GBA. In any case, on your behalf, we would like to make a donation to vaccinating children in the Pacific. And thank you again for a very interesting presentation. Thanks, Luca.